Hello, and welcome to the latest Shift live stream. I am Brock Heasley, the writer and director of The Shift, and I am really, really excited to come to you today. For those of you that don't know what The Shift is, you're happening upon this for the first time. The Shift is a sci-fi film, also with some faith in it, coming together with the support of thousands and thousands of investors. And you can see more about it at angel.com/theshift. That's the link that's just right down there. Today is a very, very special day. Today I am coming to you live from Kappa Studios. Kappa Studios is a really, really cool spot, especially if you're a fan of any kind of faith film, especially if you're a fan of The Chosen. This room right here, where I am right now, this is the room in which every single episode and the Christmas special of The Chosen have been edited, right here in this room. In fact, I'm pretty sure that I've just co-opted editor John Quinn's chair. That's what I'm sitting in right now. Anytime I'm in LA, Kappa Studios is nice enough to put me up and let me hold meetings here, which is very nice of them. And the reason I'm here today is because I have met today for the first time, in person anyway, our new team member for The Shift, and I'm going to introduce you to him coming up in just a little bit. Other very cool things we're going to be doing today. We have a live contest, and it's going to give one of you the opportunity to see recently shot test footage for the feature film. You may not be aware of this, but recently I took a small cast and crew in Fresno, where I live and where I'm from, and we shot just one day, just a bunch of test footage for the feature film, just to kind of show what the feature film is going to look and feel like. Aaron K. Wolf says, "G'day, y'all, all y'all." Aaron is either from Texas or Australia. I can't really tell, probably both, judging by the way he said that. This footage is really unique. I think it's, especially those of you that took the opportunity to read the script, I think this footage is going to be something really special for you to see. Only one of you are going to get to see it today. It has not been publicly released. No one has seen it outside of a small circle of people. But one of you today are going to get a chance to see it. And then that person is going to come and jump on live with me to tell us about what they saw and what they thought of it. More on that in just a little bit. I'm also going to run through some announcements and some updates, very, very brief today. In fact, let's just jump right into that. Those of you wondering probably, okay, what's going on with this film? Is it going to be made? What is happening? So on that note, I can tell you not a lot. I'm sorry, not a lot, but I can tell you a little bit. What I can tell you is that things are looking very, very promising. In the previous live stream, I talked about how we were really aiming to have our funding in place, or maybe I just told this to investors. Doesn't matter, I'm telling all of you now. I talked about wanting to have all of our funding in place by the end of May so that we could start shooting the film this year. We're getting much, much closer to May. Tomorrow, in fact, is the beginning of April. So the question is how close are we to that goal? Is that still realistic? The answer is it's very realistic. At this point, it's very fair to say that it is more likely than unlikely we will not begin. No, I'm getting tortured in my words. It is more likely that we will have enough money in place by the end of it to begin pre-production. That's the good news. The film being shot this year, every single day is increasing as the thing that will more likely happen than not. So that's really good news. If you're a fan of The Shift, if you're an investor of The Shift, that's really, really good news. And I can't give any more details than that. Rest assured that as soon as I can, as soon as deals are made, things are signed, whatever that is, I will tell you about it. I can also tell you that we have been getting the script into the hands of actors. That's a really encouraging thing to happen. That's a very important step, obviously, before we begin shooting. I've had a lot of emails lately, people asking me, okay, when's auditions? Where are they going to be? What casting agency are you using? I don't have answers for any of that stuff. When I'm talking about sending the script to actors, I'm not talking about every role in the film. I'm talking really just about our two leads, which are Kevin and Satan. And those are the ones that we're kind of trying to approach right now. Name actors, yes, people you would recognize, and we have had successful contact, and we're waiting on some responses. I can't tell you that I've already gotten one no, and that is not a bad thing. That is a typical thing. I can't think of a single film that hasn't been turned down by an actor. It always happens. So I see that as a sign of progress. and certainly not a deterrent at all. We're going to find the right people for this film. It's just a matter of, making those reaching out and getting to that point. Okay, so those are the updates. That's kind of where things are. I know that's probably a little bit more vague than some of you were wanting to know and to have, but that's where things are at. It's very positive. There will be more to share, I'm sure, in our next live stream. Probably I can get a little bit more specific by then. One of the other things that we're doing right now is that we are gauging interest in a new round of crowdfunding. We've done 3 rounds so far. All of them have been successful to one degree or another. We've raised a total of about $1.8 million so far. Currently, we are accepting pledges. What this means is that you're going to come in and you're going to say, hey, you know what? I would love to invest in the shift in another round. And then you tell us how much you want to invest. You give us your email, and that way we can contact you when and if we begin another offering. So far, we've seen a total of over 108,000 pledges. That is actually really significant, and it's probably even more significant than you know. And the reason for that is because we haven't done any advertising. We haven't really told anybody about it except for just a few posts on our Facebook page. Typically, with the crowdfunding round, we'll create advertisements and we'll get out there in front of people, and I'll do all kinds of interviews and stuff like that. And that's when you see that number go up. So to achieve $108,000 in pledges with basically, with literally no ad spend. That's pretty cool. So but seeing that positive result, that doesn't mean that we're going to do another round of crowdfunding. That none of that means that it's going to happen. It just means that if it does happen, those people, they will be contacted. Today, somebody pledged $500 just today, which is fantastic. And if you're listening right now, we appreciate that. Okay. Now, let's get to our contest. I'm really, really excited about this. So we did recently shoot test footage. It's footage that is meant to look and feel, these are some pictures from it, look and feel like the feature film will look and feel. As you can see, it has a very different look from the short film. And that's because the feature film is kind of a different beast than the short film. And also, I made the short film a long time ago, and we know more about what we're doing. And so it's going to be a very, very unique film. And this test footage is something that I really, really think that you're going to want to see. So we want to give one of you the chance right now. This is how it's going to work. I am going to, first of all, there's some conditions, all right? If you're going to enter this contest, there's a very specific condition that you have to agree to. You have to agree that at the end of this live stream, this very live stream right now, that you will join me and that you will give us your reaction to the footage. So whoever wins this contest, we're going to send you a link. You're going to get to watch the footage, and then you'll be sent another link. You'll join me live at the end of this live stream, and you'll get to tell everybody, we get to talk to me, and I get to talk to you, and you're going to tell everybody what you think of what you saw. Okay, so let's get into this. First of all, right now, if you're gonna participate in this contest, write down or already have typed in that email address right there at the bottom of the screen, theshiftcontest@gmail.com. That is where we are going to accept the answers to these 3 trivia questions I'm about to ask. You've got to send your answers to theshiftcontest@gmail.com. Answers are not going to be accepted in the comments or anywhere else. We're only going to see them if they come to this email address. So be sure and have that ready. All right, let's get into it. Here we go with the questions. Number 1, in the short film, what is the name of Kevin's boss? What is the name of Kevin's boss? That's question number 1. And look, all of these questions that I'm about to ask you, you can find them. You can find the short film, you can watch it, you can hear his name, or you can Google the answers to these next questions. Okay, question number 2. Name 3 movies that feature the concept of the multiverse. So The Shift is a sci-fi film, and it deals with the idea of parallel realities, which, back when we first created The Shift, the short film, that was not really a thing so much that a lot of people knew or understood. Now, thanks to Marvel, everybody kind of understands what the multiverse is, so thank you, Marvel. But all you got to do is name any 3 movies that feature the concept, that show multiple realities, that talk about multiple realities, in which this is a concept that is featured in the film. So there's a number of possible responses to this question, and we'll accept any of them. All right, last question. And this one's the hardest. How many sons, daughters, sheep, camels, oxen, and she-asses did Job have before Satan began his temptations? How many sons, daughters, sheep, camels, oxen, and she-asses did Job have before Satan began his temptations? The feature film for The Shift takes a lot of its inspiration from the book of Job. And Job, of course, was a man who was tempted by Satan because Satan wanted to prove to God that Job only obeyed him, only was faithful because God blessed him. So the book of Job was a huge inspiration for me in writing the script. And if you're familiar with the book of Job and you watch this film, you're going to see some parallels there. So somebody's got to do it. If you're going to get this question right, you got to do a deep dive on Job. And it's not that deep of a dive. Trust me, when you go to the book of Job, it's not going to take you long to find the answer to this question. I doubt anybody knows it offhand. So dive into your Bibles. That's my day. I got a whole bunch of you to start reading your Bible. So I count that as a win already just for me. But good luck. That is our contest. Send your answers to the Shift Contest at gmail.com. It's the only place where we're going to accept answers. All right. Now it is time. This is the part I'm really, really excited about. Is I want to introduce you to our new team member on the Shift. This is a very important who's going to be somebody you're probably going to hear and see about a lot from now on. So I'm going to go get him, and then just watch this. Send your answers to the email, and I'll be right back in just a second with our new team member. All right, I'd like to welcome to the Shift officially producer Ken Carpenter.
Hello, Brock.
Ken, I am so glad that we finally get to reveal you to everyone.
Well, I'm glad to be here.
This is an exciting day. Ken is a producer. Ken is an incredible producer who has a long history of credits. I encourage anybody to go look him up on IMDb. I think you're going to be impressed. Producer is one of the very key people on a film. A producer is so key that when the Academy hands out an Oscar for Best Picture, they give it to the producers. That's who they give it to, because without them, there is no film. So Ken is someone who I was recently introduced to, and in fact, today is the very day that we've actually met in person.
That's right.
Which was fun and exciting and a little nerve-wracking, because I don't know if you've ever met anybody. Well, maybe this isn't so much a thing anymore, but this is revealing too much about myself. But I before I got married, I kind of delved into the online dating world.
Ah.
And this was back when, to say that to someone, that I was, dating somebody online or kind of, talking to someone with the intent to date, that was something that people laughed at me for. Because this is just back at the inception of all of this stuff, and it was just seeing, well, how desperate can you be? And then you go and you meet the person in person, and you never knew what was going to happen. Was it going to match up? Because you have this chemistry online. Is that necessarily going to manifest itself in person? And I can tell you, to my shame, that sometimes it did not. And usually it was because of me and because I was lame. But I'm very happy to say, and I hope that you agree, sir, that I feel like we just fell right together today. I feel like everything that I thought this was going to be in our rapport and our working relationship, I feel like it manifested appropriately today.
Yeah, likewise. We have not yet broached whether or not I can audition for the role of a Lancer.
A Lancer?
Having just seen that footage, that's,
Well, are you over 6 feet?
No, but we have camera tricks.
That's true. And we have platforms too. We can get some Apple boxes there. But
no,
yeah.
It's been a great and fruitful day.
Yeah, no, it has been. It has been. We're here in Kappa. We're here at Kappa Studios today, specifically so that we can connect in person, and just start putting this film together. There is a lot to do and a lot to consider, and I don't think we're even going to get through half of it in our together. But we're going to make some serious headway, and already we have. We had a fantastic meeting with an undisclosed individual this afternoon that I'm sure I'll be telling you about soon.
A vital team member,
who I believe something very good is going to come out of that meeting.
Likewise.
So yes, it's been a very, very productive day. So Ken, this I hope I don't know that I adequately explained to you exactly what it is you're getting into.
You did not.
I'm sure I did.
You said get in the chair and
here we go.
Yeah.
Being a part of the shift means having all of these people looking at us, watching what we're doing, and opening up the filmmaking process in a way that, it usually isn't. Usually you make a film, in secret, and then you release it to the world, and then maybe you've got a few snippets of behind the scenes stuff that they release as an EPK thing or whatever, and then that's it. And the shift is different. We are showing the world what we're doing, and we're inviting and involving everybody into this process. So it's really important that they know you.
Yeah.
And I'm just to set the stage here. Can you just kind of give people just a sense of who you are and what background is? Just
sure.
Kind of the rundown here.
Sure. My production background?
Yeah, your production background. Because they need to get to know you, because you're going to be a part of this. You are a part of this thing, and people are curious.
I'll give you a quick flyover.
Okay.
Look, but a number of years ago, I was living. My son is here on this trip. I drove him by my old apartment here in Burbank at the outset of my career, and I was headed down the road of making movies. Had a fun, exciting start early in the career, and then one day I fell into the opportunity to direct a music video for an up-and-coming band called DC Talk.
Oh, I've heard of them.
I've heard of them. And they were right at a point when they were taking off, and the video did well, not because of anything I could have done a slideshow. Such was their popularity at the time, and it would have been well received. But that resulted in me and my Southern California born and raised wife going to Nashville, Tennessee, to visit with the band and record companies. And my wife fell in love with Nashville. Yeah. And so we moved from Los Angeles to Nashville, Tennessee.
I've heard nothing but good things. It's not about LA.
No, about Nashville.
About Nashville.
Yeah, it's been a fabulous journey, and I spent the better part of 20 years doing music videos and everything film related for a lot of the big artists in that town. Right. Producing and directing, and doing documentaries and commercials and everything other than making movies. Yeah. Until several years ago, I finally had the bandwidth to do what I really wanted to do all along. Not that I would trade for a minute the wonderful experiences that I've had and the relationships that I build with storytellers, but just really happy to now be firmly planted in the movie making world. Yeah. And enjoying the exciting new adventures that God is unfolding. And you just recently got back from the UK, shooting a film there, and you had some pretty cool actors. I know people that I've been a fan of, and we're in post now, almost done with a movie called Surprised by Oxford, which is gorgeous, by the way. And whoever is texting me, sorry about that. Go ahead. Sorry. Tell us about Surprised by Oxford. That's got a really interesting story to it. Surprised by Oxford is a true story based on a memoir by an author named Carolyn Weber, who, when she was college age, went to Oxford to get her PhD and was singularly focused on that portal to happiness and success. Right. But much like C.S. Lewis, was surprised by joy,
Right.
as he details in his wonderful book. Carolyn had some experiences at Oxford that changed her life.
Uh-huh.
So we've gone there to tell that story. And we have Phyllis Logan, who plays Mrs. Hughes. Downton Abbey is in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And Mark Weasley from the Harry Potter movies.
Right.
So several other English actors at that level, and it's just been a real joy.
Yeah, no, I've been to the UK once, and it was one of my most favorite trips. I can't even imagine the privilege of being at Oxford and shooting. I mean, that's part of the joy. I know you've been so many different places. I think you told me earlier today, 20 different European countries, 48 states.
Something like that.
Some crazy number like that. I thought I was well-traveled. I am not compared to you, sir.
It's been one of the joys of the career, is the exciting places it takes me to.
Oh, that's fantastic. I have to actually respond to this text, so you're going to have to forgive me. But
is our Uber Eats here?
Our Uber Eats is delayed, and we've got to fix this. So you've been involved in a lot of interesting different projects and people. I mean, DC Talk, going back to them. Did you mention that you won an award for that music video?
Oh, I don't think that I did.
Yeah, well, you're not going to brag on yourself. I'll brag on you. You won an award, a lot more than I mean.
It was a Billboard Music Video Award.
Billboard Music Video Award. That's incredible. That's incredible. Was that your first music video, or you?
It was.
First music video, and you went up. I mean, come on.
It was sort of.
That's
crazy.
Amazing.
Yep.
That's amazing.
God had a different plan. We talk about it all the time. If we'd stayed here and built our life in Los Angeles, what would that have been like? But God had an entirely different plan.
Yeah.
And we were able to do music videos for Michael W. Smith and Stephen Curtis Chapman and Amy Grant and all the wonderful artists, many in the country arena as well. And just has been a great experience.
That's fantastic. I'm a little jealous, and I think hopefully some of that traveling is in my future. I don't know. I love the idea of location shooting and exploring a new place, and just I don't know. Travel is one of the passions in my life, and I've kind of come to it later in life. I didn't get to do a whole lot of it as a kid, and maybe that's why I find it so exciting and valuable now. But so okay, you've been involved. You've done all these different things. So the big question is why the shift? What drew you to the shift?
You drew me to the shift, and your short film drew me to the script, or to the project, and your, Brock, as a producer, I meet a lot of writer directors, but it all starts with the storyteller, and I thought your short film just evidenced a lot of inspired storytelling, nuance, and just made a lot of great choices. And I saw that and said, yeah, this guy's got the goods. Yeah. And then the opportunity to meet with you virtually.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We call that online? No, it's a little weird.
Same basic idea.
Right? And I liked you, and I thought you were a nice human, and I thought, production often brings out the best of us, but it can bring out the worst in people.
Yes, it can.
And the further I get, the more careful I am about who I'm linking arms with. Mm-hmm. And you come highly recommended by other people we mutually know.
People I have successfully fooled.
Well done. Thank
you.
Maybe there's an acting role for you in the movie.
That is my true talent.
And then I read your script, and as the old Hollywood saying goes, if it's not on the page, it won't be on the stage. And I've commended you, I think, in our first meeting on your crisp and expedient writing and storytelling. So
I appreciate
all
that.
of those things combined drew me to the project. And then I just love the fresh territory of a sci-fi film in this space. It's just, I don't think I've seen one.
Yeah,
and so
not too many.
It's a wonderful opportunity to take a fresh path in.
Yeah. No, it's and that's exciting for me, obviously, to hear somebody who has, you've seen a few things, you've done a few productions, and I'm very cognizant of the fact that that this is newer for me. Let's not beat around the bush. I've never directed a feature film before, but that doesn't. So I think anytime you have somebody like myself who is doing something that's this big of a leap from what they've done previously. What you've got to do is you've got to surround yourself with experienced people, with people for whom this isn't as huge a leap, but who can be excited to go on that journey with you. And that's you, and for that reason, I'm so grateful for you. And of course, for Dad and everybody else that have on the team, all of them are supporting not only the film, but also me. And I'm very, very, very good.
Yeah, we're gonna put a good team around you.
Yeah.
And do your best work.
That is the plan, and as I alluded to earlier, the plan is coming together more and more. Yeah, it's coming together very well right now. So, given that the shift is so different from anything you've done, different from, most films, any film in the faith genre. Anybody who's familiar with the shift knows it's very different from anything, and that expresses any kind of faith. What do you think is the future? What does the future look like for this film? What do you just picture that we've already made it? It's done. It's going out in the world. What do you see?
You mean in terms of where to live?
Yeah, where to live, what the response might be. That's what we're doing it for, is so that we can put this out into the world. How do you think the world is going to receive it?
As I mentioned a moment ago, I meet a lot of writers and directors, a lot of people that work in this space, if you want to call it that. And what I hear over and over, Brock, is that there's a real hunger in the marketplace for what's next. Meaning we've seen a number of films in this space that are somewhat similar in their tone and perhaps in the overall general genre in which they live. But I think audiences are hungry for what's a new, fresh expression of things that are important to us. And I just think the shift invites them in. It presents a really great opportunity to say, here's a new playing field on which to explore these big, giant existential questions of, what would I do when confronted with the opportunity to achieve some gain at what might be a cost. And so Kevin's quest is something that we can all identify with. And it's like I said, it's a fresh, entertaining way of exploring that.
Yeah.
So I expect there'll be really enthusiastic audience response.
Yeah, and that's the goal with any movie. You're hoping for an enthusiastic audience response.
And if you cast me as a lancer,
then we're done. Yeah. People are going to see that movement.
And I'll give that Oscar to you.
There you go. Yeah. No, I think you're right. I've heard that hunger out there. I've had that expressed to me. I've said that, before I even started conceiving of the shift, it was, why isn't there more variety? Yeah. And it's not that other faith films shouldn't be made that way or anything like that. It's that I do think there's a bit of a homogenization that's happened, where it's a faith film. Okay, I'm expecting X, Y, Z, and it's not a whole lot of variance from that. So I do think, I believe firmly, and I always have, and it's been interesting as I've kind of seeped my way into the industry more, and I've met people like you, and I'm always not shocked, but just pleasantly, I'm pleased to hear that echoed back from so many people that honestly I would never expect would tell me, we need to do something different with faith film. People who have worked on the kinds of films that we're trying to be different from are saying to me, hey, films that are different than this film I just made, we need to do things in a different way. That's really exciting. The industry recognizes that. The audiences recognize that. That creates a space for the shift. Yep. That's what happens. That a space has been created, and we just got to make the film and get into that space. And I think, look, nobody knows what's going to happen. The one true maxim in Hollywood, which, we're not really Hollywooders, I wouldn't say that, but we're working in that industry, is that nobody knows anything. Yep. And that's 100% true. William Goldman, an incredible screenwriter, wrote The Princess Bride. He's the one who said that. And he's right. You can make guesses. Yep. You can make pretty educated guesses, but nobody actually knows anything. Yep. You don't know what's going to hit. But I think that if something can hit, I think the shift can hit. Yeah. I think it can.
Now, what you are pointing out is just, unfortunately, and again, I love all of our friends and colleagues in the business that are doing kingdom advancing work. It's all great. Mm-hmm. standing on the sidelines cheering for all of them. But unfortunately, a lot of the films have become sort of formulaic, and the shift throws a grenade into that formula in the best way possible.
Yeah.
So I know as a movie goer, I love seeing things that are new and fresh and exciting and stimulating, and strong new voices from writer, directors, and production teams. And I think that's the opportunity that's at hand with the shift.
Yeah. No, I agree. Excited, man. I didn't grow up wanting to be in this industry, which I think is something that's a little bit valuable for me, because I approach it very much in the sense of not wanting to be successful so that I can brag about it, but more in the sense of, I can do something kind of significant here. Maybe I can contribute in some way. That's kind of my angle of approach, and I think that's why the shift, that's why it's weird, for lack of a better word. I'm not trying to fit a formula that's successful. I'm trying to create something new, something different.
Rewriting the playbook a bit.
Right. Exactly. So what's next? I know it's kind of all we've been talking about today is, what are all of our tasks, but from a producer perspective, just to give people a little bit more insight, what is the immediate short-term things that we're trying to hit, and then a few months from now, what do you see happening? Just to give people who maybe not know.
Yeah, the first high-level tasks that we need to address are, of course, the very exciting one of casting the film.
Yes,
I love that process. After spending months and months and months seeing those characters on the page, to start to audition or to that exploration is very, very invigorating. So that's a big one. As I mentioned a moment ago, and I'm so glad you're receptive to it and want to do it. We're building a great team around you, and just need to continue to do that in every position and bring skilled craftsmen to every area of the film, and that's exciting. So I'm going to build out the team. We have some good choices in front of us as to where we will physically shoot the film. We got to determine what's going to be the most advantageous environment and state in which to shoot.
Yep. We still don't know. Believe it or not, we have no idea where we're going to film this film. But we're getting. I shouldn't say we have. We definitely have some ideas, but we haven't nailed it down yet.
Yeah, but we will. Good opportunities in front of us.
Jeff Hill says, Brock, Dallas, and Ken, what a great team. Angel Studios asks, Ken, what is your favorite sci-fi movie?
Is District 9 sci-fi?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I was very taken with that's a great movie.
That's a great movie. So that's short term. So in a few months from now, what are we going to be up to? Where do you see?
We're going to be deep in the trenches of planning out each day.
Yeah.
Each costume, each prop.
Yep.
Meticulously working through your shot sheets and putting the meat on the bones of the telling of this story.
Which is the fun, but less fun than the casting stuff. What you're talking about is like one of the most complicated parts of any film, I think. Just trying to figure out in what order do we do things, what do we need. Like, it is, everything you see on screen in a movie is purposeful, planned, and put there. And there are hundreds of people, probably for the most part, that are behind getting all that on there. There's so many different decisions and different things that have to be planned. It's really hard to fully describe that to people who are unfamiliar with the process.
Yeah, it's such a complex puzzle.
Oh, it's a
infinite number of ways that we can configure the schedule and shooting order, and so many factors.
Depending on actor schedules and location availabilities. I honestly, that's why you hire an entire person to help you do it, because it's so complex and it's so big. I'm very glad that's not my job, although it is going to be our jobs to do it with them. Yes. But it's not completely just our jobs, which gives me some comfort. All right, let's see. We want to open it up to questions. If you've got any questions for Ken, this is the time to submit them. If anything's come across the screen, I apologize. I've been very deep into this conversation with Ken, and I have not looked at the screen. So if anybody does have any questions, please pop them up. Keep that question on the screen, moderators. I want to announce real quick our winner of our live contest, who's going to be joining me very, very soon. He may even be watching the footage right now. I don't know. But the winner of our live contest is Michael Bird. Michael Bird, congrats. You answered all of the questions correctly. You get to see the test footage. And if you just hold on a minute, at the end of this live stream and coming up in just a few, we're going to get Michael here on live. He's going to tell us what he thinks about what he saw. So this question here comes from Adam McCurdy. He says, as a producer, are you more interested in the investment of the film or the faith aspect of the film?
That is a good question. I am going to say that I think it's the responsible way to think about that is to be equally interested in both components. I mean, we have a responsibility to be fiduciarily responsible to investors. And so, yeah, I care deeply about what's happening on all fiscal matters related to the film. I mean, films are notoriously or too often sort of reckless about that and that anybody in the long run. Right. But at the same time, I get out of bed in the morning because I love storytelling. And I love the opportunity to be a part of crafting a story that is additive to people's journey and moves them to a place of wanting to press in on the big questions. And so, I love that, not at the exclusion of making sure that we're, God willing, on time and on budget, and all the and making this a good outing for the investor. But man, I just love both sides of it. I love being a producer because it's equal elements of show business. Right. We get to walk in both worlds. It's sort of a great entrepreneurial endeavor because it's entirely creative, and each movie is a business startup. So it feeds both sides of that for me.
No, that's a great answer. We've had a lot of talks about, the faith element and how much that, should inform what we're doing. And, I think we both land in the same spot where it's the faith aspect, I think, is more of a byproduct of who we are and less, hey, we're gonna beat this drum, through this process. The drum we beat is fiduciary responsibility, obviously, and then storytelling responsibility. And as people of faith, as people who are trying to put good into the world, that's going to come through those things, and I think that's how we end up with a better movie and something that people can get really excited about. Let's see. Any other questions for us? Brandon Roots asks, what is Ken's favorite band? You've worked with a number of bands. Do you dare answer this question?
Oh my goodness,
who are you going to offend?
That's the most challenging question of the day. I live in Music City, Nashville, Tennessee.
Right.
So my music interests span all kinds of genres of music. I'm gonna punt that one.
Okay, all right. I think that's fair. Given your particular circumstances, that's fair.
But I love a wide variety of music.
Oh, that's great. For sure. Country fan then?
They're at the right day and time. Nothing's quite as good as the good country song, but I like lots of music.
I admit Johnny Cash, and then that's pretty much where I stop when it comes to country. But that's me.
We'll work on it there.
Angel asks, where do you see this project a year from now? What are we going to be doing in end of March 2022?
Well, I hope we're by the end of March 22.
We are in 22.
Or 2023.
23.
It's as God ordains things. That could be when the film is out theatrically. It could be when the film is out on DVD. It could be when the film is out streaming. But I think it's say that a year from now the film will be doing its work.
Yeah, I think it'll be. I don't think it'll be out that soon, personally, but you never know. But but I think it'll be pretty much in its complete form. I think by a year from now.
There is a fluidity that's required to walk through this process with any sanity and civility. And it's like I said, as God ordains. We do our best. We press our hardest, and He'll open the doors. And
well,
is right.
And anybody who's been with the shift for any amount, following what we've been doing for any amount of time, they know very well that this is not in our hands. It really is. I mean, any endeavor is ultimately not in our hands, but especially something like this, it really comes down to His timing. I very strongly believe in that. If I didn't believe in that, I think I'd go crazy.
Believe in that and rest in that.
Yeah, and rest in that. Exactly. And that's really the key thing. Not just believing it, but accepting it, being there, and letting the rest of it go. Yeah. Okay, any more questions? We got one from Jeff Dolan. He says, thoughts on how much SFX is too much? SFX, I think, do we mean special effects? Special effects.
Yeah, that's a great question, Jeff, as to how much should be in camera and how much should be in post. That's a big, exciting exploration.
Yeah. I mean, where do I fall on as much as we can do in camera is better, I think. Yeah. I fall down on the side of I like to touch it and feel it and have it happen in front of us. Absolutely, there are wonderful things that happen in post to bring things to life, and often invisible. You can't tell that it's been done that way.
Yeah. But I like doing as much as we can in camera.
Yeah, absolutely, same. Okay, we have any more questions for Ken? We do. Kyler, Ken, you're shifted into an alternate dimension where you meet yourself doing a different career. What is it?
I'm playing shortstop for the Detroit Tigers.
Oh, bam. He just had that at the tip of his tongue.
Yeah, and then when I'm shifted again, I'll be a sports journalist writing about the Detroit Tigers.
So how did you not end up in sport? I mean, obviously the passion is there. So
yeah, well, I don't know. God dropped me into the film business, and I'm super happy to be here.
But there you go.
I love sports, and
there you
go. You're not a sports guy.
I'm
but
not.
We're still going to be friends, and we're going to make a great movie together.
We'll find our way through.
But the parallels between the drama that unfolds on this athletic field and what we do in movie making never cease to amaze me. We put this team we can, but it gets settled out on the playing field, and no one knows how that's going to turn out, and things happen in the ninth inning or in overtime of a football game, and it gets really exciting.
Well, that's why sports movies are so compelling, right? Like, I'm not a sports guy, but I love sports movies, because the drama is so inherent. It really is.
Can we shift Kevin into a sports? Well, we'll talk about that. Sports environment.
See what we're going to shift him into.
Yeah, he's playing outfield for the Dodgers.
There you go. I think that might increase our budget. Just a bit. Dave Meacham, I believe we both know Dave.
I've heard of this man.
He says, Ken, what is the biggest lesson learned from your previous projects? Run the Race, Finding You?
Yeah.
Good question, Ken. Dave?
Yeah, the biggest lessons I've learned, I produced both those movies with good teams, and really enjoyed my working relationship with the directors on those movies. And I've learned that my job is to come alongside the director and try to set the table for you to do your best work. And what the biggest lesson learned? That working with good people sets that table in the best way possible. So I had really charmed experiences on both of those movies, one in Alabama, the other in Ireland.
I'm jealous.
We could shoot the shift in Ireland. He gets shifted to Ireland.
He gets shifted, boom.
He gets shifted all over Europe.
Let's just set the whole thing in Europe. There you go. My wife would kill me.
That's a great question, Dave. And working with conduct themselves with integrity. And a real commitment to excellent craftsmanship. That's the importance of that is the biggest lesson I've learned.
I think you're speaking to my heart.
Good.
I I don't, my experience is not as extensive as yours, but I've been on a number of sets, feature films and otherwise, and there is nothing on a day that contributes more to the success of that day than just the vibe on set, just how well you're able to communicate, get along, etc. It contributes so much to the final product, I believe. I believe it's really, really important. Kyler says, Kalamazoo, Ken, go Tigers. Juan Rodriguez, who is an actor, and Juan was one of our extras in the test footage that Michael just saw. We have Michael Bird coming up in just a minute, who's going to share with us his reaction footage. He won our live contest today. And by the way, those of you that are curious about the shift, possibly would be interested in investing in another round of crowdfunding, which we have not announced. But if we do, if you'd like to let us know how much you'd like to invest, you can go ahead and make that, I think pledge is the right word, over at angel.com/theshift. There we go. There's the URL. And now it's covering up Juan's question. Okay, there we go. Juan said, Mr. Carpenter, how do you feel now being part of a faith-based film with such a storyline?
I'm very excited to be a part of this film, Juan. There's so many threads that I like about the shift, but one element that I like, family is very important in my personal life. I just love that Kevin's fighting to get back to Molly. That means so much to him. I resonate with that. I love that element in the story. So I'm excited for all the aforementioned reasons of the uniqueness of the story, the good people coming around it.
Right.
But I'm excited about the road ahead.
No, that's cool. That's the Kevin and Molly relationship is obviously the emotional key to the whole film. Yeah. And probably no surprise, based a little bit on my wife and I and our interactions. There are things that they say to each other that are taken directly from life in that sense. And so yes, I cannot wait to put that on screen, to find the two actors, that have that history, that can bring that relationship across. I think the movie's going to sink or swim on that in a lot of ways.
So if it's autobiographical, are we like casting somebody to play you?
Casting somebody to play? I wouldn't go that far.
Who would you like to play you?
Oh, somebody much better looking. How about that? And less bald. Somebody less bald than me. Hey, somebody just pledged $150. Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that. Well, Ken, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for being a part of the shift. I'm just so excited to walk this road with you and to do all of this. I think we're in for an incredible next few months, and then going into production. I just see a really exciting time ahead for it. And I'm just so glad you're doing it with me.
Likewise. Thanks, Brock.
Awesome.
All right.
All right. Check this out, and I'll come right back with Michael Bird.
Why does Hollywood always get Bible movies so wrong? How could you cast Batman as Moses and still have the movie be more boring than church? Plus, they should have saved Christian Bale to play Jacob. Rachel! There are two problems when it comes to faith-based movies. Number one, most Christian films look cheap because they don't have the budget. The second problem is when Hollywood attempts to make their own faith movie, which is when you get Noah talking to rock monsters. Was a global flood not epic enough for you, Hollywood? Most faith-based movies fall apart quickly. And watching them is like walking on Legos with your eyes. It's hard to feel God in a faith-based film when they have the production value of a church play.
I don't feel safe!
Hey, you don't cry until the last scene!
Pray for them. Hollywood has all of the production value, but none of the Christian value. How can we as believers enjoy a faith-based film that's as enjoyable as a blockbuster, but retains the power and truth of the Bible? We need a Hollywood-quality movie created by actual believers, and that movie is The Shift. It's about a man who meets the devil himself and gets banished to a dark, parallel earth where he fights to get back to the woman he loves. The script explores some of today's hardest questions about maintaining faith, like how can a loving God allow suffering? Or how can I overcome feelings of despair and hopelessness? Finally, you can see a faith-based film that feels like your favorite movies. The Shift is a sci-fi film that will make you think deeply like Inception and weep like Matthew McConaughey in Interstellar. Man, even his ugly cry looks good. I can't do it. I can't. I'm not that talented. Using popular genres to share faith-based stories is a great way to entertain and inspire a love for God. Look at C.S. Lewis, who used fantasy to share Christian themes and inspire millions. And make millions. Even Jesus used creative storytelling to make his sermons more interesting. Parables. I'm talking about parables. We need your help to turn The Shift into a full-length feature film. But rather than pass around a donation plate, we want you to own part of the movie. Express your interest in backing The Shift by clicking on the link today to be among the first to know if the offering launches. The plan is for The Shift to be distributed by Angel Studios, which helped The Chosen become the largest crowdfunded media project of all time. Angel Studios' distribution of The Chosen then went on to generate over $70 million in revenue and over 250 million views. Here's what the creator of The Chosen has to say about The Shift.
I have actually signed on to be one of the executive producers of The Shift, and I want to see more, and I want to be part of it. And it reaches me on both an intellectual level and an emotional level.
Angel Studios also helped the Wingfeather Saga, an animated fantasy series created by a Christian author, become the largest crowdfunded kids and family animated project in history. When you invest in The Shift, you're not just investing in a groundbreaking Christian film. You have the potential to share in the profits. Now, we don't have one of these profits to promise that you'll make this profit. But I am going to repeat that The Chosen earned $70 million in revenue. That's the highest earning faith-based project of the last 2 years. The Shift not only has the incredible potential in the marketplace, it's just an incredible movie. Listen to these reviews from folks who watched the short film. Jane F. wrote, "This looks amazing. I've never seen a faith-based film like this." Ronnie said, "There's actually no way to convey how this spoke to me just now. I look forward to seeing what God does with this film." And Jason commented recently with, "Wow, just wow." And what will really wow you is discovering that the short film was created with almost zero budget and it has already touched hundreds of thousands of lives. Imagine the impact The Shift can have on hearts and minds with the proper funds. Most indie Christian films operate with a budget of about $500,000. And honestly, it shows. She's fine. Maybe the little shepherd boy could say a quick prayer? Yep, we good? With 10 times the production value, we can truly do justice to the epic themes in the Bible. So express your interest in backing The Shift by clicking on the link today. Look, there's nothing wrong with a film that's a labor of love, but those usually just become cult classics, which is not the best label for a Christian movie to receive. Enjoy Sunday morning values with Saturday night entertainment. Click on the link to express your interest in backing The Shift today to be among the first to know if the offering launches.
All right, welcome back. This is it. We're going to find out now what Michael thinks of the test footage for the Shift feature film. We just had a contest. Michael answered the 3 questions correctly. Let's go ahead and bring him in. Michael, welcome, sir. Welcome to the live stream.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
All right, I'm excited to have you, man. It's I don't think we've been before or ever met. I did not preview your response to the test footage. I have no idea what you're going to say, but I'm very excited to hear from you. This test footage was done, for those of you that are just now joining us, the test footage was filmed about a month ago with a very small cast and crew. We just wanted to get an idea of, we wanted to put on film what the look and feel of the feature film could be. It's not necessarily exactly what it's going to be, but it should be a pretty decent idea. And you saw some stills from that earlier. If you're coming in late, rewind, you can see them. But Michael, you've actually watched it. You've actually watched the footage. What did you think?
Yeah, I was super excited. Very moving. Actually, I've read the script, and I'm behind this 100%. And so to see the portion of it that you decided to do the test footage with, I think was a very good choice. It's the feel is exactly what I would expect. It's got that gritty kind of a feel here in his, in that reality that he's in. But it's also got a very good emotional connection for the piece that you chose. I don't know how much detail you do or don't want me to get into about what I saw specifically.
You get into whatever you want to get into. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. No, that's fine. So yeah, it's just seeing his reaction to his circumstances. Obviously seeing the longing he has to go back to and find his wife, and to find that life, but to see that mirrored in the characters there in the reality that he's in that multiverse reality was nice. It's a good feeling how it's going to be. Sorry, stumbling over my words a little bit, but yeah. And then of course seeing seeing too how the Lancers are brutal and unrelenting, and they contrast the emotion so well. But you have a high emotion scene, and then they're just blank. And they're almost robotic to the point of doing that job. So I really like the way you've chosen to portray them, and the sample costumes that you've worked up so far. It was I'm very pleased to see that. I can see how just from that short amount of footage that this really is going to be a powerful piece. It makes me all the more excited to do it. And thank you for having the contest and giving me a chance to see it. I've been following you pretty closely.
Yeah, no, it sounds like you definitely have. You said it was kind of emotional, which of course I'm hoping for as a filmmaker. What emotions would you associate with the footage that you saw?
Well, certainly there's a you see in his eyes and in the way that the action is portrayed. It's not just about the action. It's really I felt that longing, that sense that he had of being out of place and really wanting to be back, and then to see people that he had befriended, and especially the young girls, and to see the brutality pushed against them. I think really brought back to him his own loss, and that's the feeling I was getting was that loss, the sense of loss, the sense of being out of place and wanting to be back where he belonged. But then even seeing that happen to them, kind of compounded his grief.
Yeah. No, and it's funny. It's one of those things that kind of the way, just give you some insight into the way this was put together. It was one of those things where we didn't have a script on the day or anything like that. It was more of just here's just a list of things that I want to get, and then I just kind of trusted that when I got back to edit it, that I would just figure out how to put this thing together in a way that it would be somewhat compelling. But it was really just here's a bunch of random stuff from the script that I think we can film quickly and easily. But you've really keyed in on something that I kind of figured out through editing, which was this contrast between Kevin in the film. He makes friends with this young father, and he has a young wife and two little girls, and something that I think I was able to do with the test footage is just kind of show the impact, or at least what I was trying to do was show the impact of that family and Kevin being exposed to that family and what that causes him to reflect on in himself. And look, to be clear, and Michael knows this and all of you don't know this, there's no dialogue in this test footage. There's not even really any sound effects. There's just a song that runs over all the footage. One of the ways we did this really quickly was to just not record sound at all. So we didn't even record sound on the day. But so it's all done with images, but it's something that it kind of just came through in the editing, where I just realized, if I can just cut between this family and these things that Kevin's going through, I think we can have a really interesting, you kind of trying to build that relationship. Anyway, I'm getting deep into editing stuff here. People don't care about that, but filmmakers, when you see it, think about that. Think about how these things can be shaped in editing, not necessarily on the day you're not thinking about all this. It's all sometimes these things just emerge at the last stage.
Right, and another piece, Brock, that I picked up was there's a we know he's a man of faith, and we know Kevin is exercising his faith even in the hardest circumstances. But one of the scenes that you chose to include was his two actually that I can think of his generosity, his kindness, his kind of a fatherly approach. Where he's providing food to those who need it through the fence, even as they're looking for something. And then on top of that, as he goes past the Lancers brutalizing random citizen, he's kind of protecting his friend. You can see him shield him and walk him along away from that danger. So those kind of things, you see his character, which I really like. With that, again, I don't think it needed the dialogue for that. I think you captured it marvelously. That we get to see who he is and how he acts in this. So very nice.
Yeah, well, and hats off to our actors who, did me the great favor of participating in that. We were able to bring back Greg Tharp, who played Kevin in the short film for that, and joined by a few other actors, and they did a marvelous job communicating so much with their faces. This is probably torturous for everybody who isn't us, because we're describing this stuff. They're like, "What are you talking about? I want to see it." And for those of you that are wondering, like, are you ever going to get to see this? Yes, you will get to see this. I haven't quite figured out when to show it to you yet, and it's not now. So it's just for Michael right now, just Michael. He now has the bragging rights, and right. Michael, feel free to share with people what you've seen. Just don't send that link out. We're trusting you.
Absolutely not. Wouldn't do that to you.
I'm so glad that you had the opportunity to check it out, and thank you so much for joining me and sharing your thoughts, and thank you for just supporting, for just being somebody that's excited about this film. And I've seen your name popping up, liking and commenting on things, and that kind of stuff. It's small, it doesn't take but a second, but it's impactful, and it helps us get this out to even more people, because if one thing Facebook loves is they love engagement, and right. You've been a great supporter in that way. We appreciate that.
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate you guys selling the beanie too. By the way, I don't know if you have more merch coming, but that thing kept my head warm over the cold weather, so I really enjoyed it.
You and me both. I have even less hair than you, and that beanie got me through the winter. We do have some stock left. We've kind of pulled it from the store for now. We're reassessing our merch strategy. But I think we can probably look forward to a return of some of those things at some point, and maybe some new stuff as well. So, thank you for that. I'm glad that worked out for you. I love that beanie. That beanie is like my favorite beanie. It fits so well, at least on my head.
Yep.
All right. Well, Michael, thank you so much. Appreciate you, and I'm sure we'll talk to you later.
All right. Appreciate it.
Bye. All right. That is our show. This is a show. I think that's an appropriate term. That's it for today. Just a reminder, please go to angel.com/The Shift. You can find out all kinds of stuff more about The Shift. In fact, if you go to there right now, you'll see there's been a little bit of an update. Ken Carpenter, we announced him today as producer on The Shift, and you will see that he is now part of the team on that page. So I'm very, very excited to have Ken on the team. I'm so glad you got a chance to meet him. We've got other stuff coming up. In fact, there is a whole other team member that we added recently that is a very big deal that I know you're going to want to know about, and I'm not going to tell you about him today. Not today. Another day. I think the next time we meet, which is probably going to be about a month from now, we'll do another live stream. I think we'll have a lot more to share. So looking forward to that. Thank you, all of you, for being a part of what we're doing here, being a part of this film. Those of you that invested, those of you that are following and supporting and commenting, liking, all that stuff that YouTubers say all the time. We appreciate you, and you're making a difference. You're helping the word on this film is getting out. The reason that Ken and I are connected is because the word on this film got out. Somebody saw it who was connected to Ken, and they connected me with Ken. And that's because the word got out. That's because of you. So keep spreading the word. If you would like to connect with other fans of The Shift, there is a Shift fan club on Facebook. It's fan run, but I come in there and I'll drop tidbits and things that I don't drop anywhere else. But that's a great place to connect with people. So be sure and look that up on Facebook. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you again soon.
Hey there, I'm Dallas Jenkins. I'm the creator of The Chosen, and I wanted to share with you a little bit of why I have actually signed on to be one of the executive producers of The Shift. I remember when I first saw the short film, The Shift, it was probably a couple years ago, and I remember thinking to myself, I don't know who this person is who made this, and I had heard that they did it for no money, but I'm really impressed, and I believe that this guy has a future. And I wanted to see more. I wanted to see where The Shift turned out. I wanted to see how it could be expanded upon. I wanted to see what Brock could do with an actual budget. So The Shift now has a relatively small budget. They're really keeping the budget low, and that's one of the things I'm trying to do, is help them maximize the budget that they do have, and making sure that every penny that we spend is spent in the best and most efficient way possible, which is one of the things that I hope, if you've seen The Chosen, you've realized we did there too, was we didn't have Hollywood money, but we had enough to make something special. And I think that's what Brock has now. I think he's going to get, and I hope you can help him get, enough to make something special. And I think the message of the shift and the future of the shift is so important. And almost as important as any of that is Brock Heasley. He didn't ask me to say this, I promise. But I can tell you, I've seen his work on a writing side, I've seen it on the directing side. And in my 20 years in the business, there are very few people who I've thought, I want to pour into this person because I think that this person has the chance to be an impactful and disruptive and important storyteller in this business. And that is Brock. Brock is someone who, when I read what he's writing, I'm connected to it. And I want to see more. And I want to be part of it. And it reaches me on both an intellectual level and an emotional level. And if you've seen The Chosen, maybe that's what you've appreciated about it as well, is that it's not just pure emotion. It's emotion that has some thought behind it, but it's also not pure intellect. It's intellect that has some heart behind it. And all of that is, there's kind of an umbrella over all of it of a spiritual importance. Something is being said about our universe and who created it.
Nothing. Tomorrow. I am greater than God. Jesus Christ.
And that's what The Shift is about. That's what The Chosen is about. It's one of the reasons why I've signed on board, and I hope you can get involved as well to be part of the beginning of what I believe is an important project and who I believe is an important filmmaker.
We need your help to turn The Shift into a full-length feature film. Click the link to invest in The Shift today.